Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we are going to be looking at one of my all-time favorite hand tools, and this is the Knipex Plier Wrenches. Now this particular model that we're going to be looking at is the 8603-125. The 125 signifies the overall length of this tool in metric. That's 125 millimeters, or that translates to 5 inches. And oftentimes here in the States that's referred to as the 5-inch Knipex Plier Wrench. This is a very, very popular model among the EDC community, and this is the smallest in this range of tools that Knipex makes, the 5-inch model or the 125. It is a very, very good wrench, and Knipex came up with this design. And for those that don't know, Knipex just makes fantastic stuff. They're a German company, and there's 3 countries that I really, really trust when it comes to tools. Those are, especially when you come to precision tools, those are Germany, Japan, and the United States. Some of the best tools in the world are manufactured in those 3 countries, and the Germans really, really know how to make tools. They make some outstanding tools, and not just in this particular brand. I mean, across the board, a wide variety of tools from Germany are just outstanding. This is a big time favorite among the EDC community because of its size and its weight, 3.6 ounces or 101 grams and only 5 inches in total length. This is something that you can carry with you on your person, in your pocket, or it will fit into a wide variety of sheaths, from multi-tool sheaths or just any off-brand sheath that you can carry it in. Now, Knipex does have a version of this tool where they have it as a combo kit where you can get it with this and its Cobra pliers, water pump pliers. They are really good, but the case that it comes with is just so incredibly bulky. Not something that I think I would want to be carrying all day, every day, but it depends on what you're doing. If you are someone that's running maintenance all day long, it might very well be valuable enough to you to carry them like that. At any rate, let's get into what this little guy is capable of. Let's talk a little bit about how the Knipex Plier wrenches actually work. So they're going to come in 4 pieces. What you have is the upper handle, and at the front of the upper handle you can see that little rounded piece. That's what's going to act as your pry mechanism or your leverage mechanism in order to move the lower jaw to close it against the upper jaw or against whatever you're tightening up. Then you have the lower handle, which is incorporated with the upper jaw. Then you have the lower jaw, which rides on the rail system that is forged into the lower handle. It's going to run in both those grooves on both sides, and it keeps it it's completely parallel no matter where you're at in the range. So no matter at what point you're set at, it allows that jaw to run parallel. It's a great design. Also in the lower handle you have double teeth engagement for your push button, so when you're setting your adjustments, that's the final piece is the push button here. So to reset it, you just push it down, set it to whatever depth or whatever width you want, and then the spring on the back is what re-engages it. So they engage very, very solidly, and then that allows you to get that leverage to tighten on whatever you're getting on. Now the open range for this will open to 7/8 of an inch or about 22 millimeters. So a wide variety or wide range of capability there. Let me show you a couple things that it can do. One of the most useful things about these plier wrenches from Knipex are the fact that if you're carrying them, it's almost like you got a little vise in your pocket. So I've got a little finish nail. We're just going to do a little demonstration here. We're going to grab that nail and we're just going to bend the end of it. And so now we've got a nail that's pretty much messed up. So if we take it and set it back in the plier wrenches though, if I can get it set there. Now that I'm doing it on camera, it doesn't want to do it. And just with very little force, I'm able to straighten that nail pretty much completely back out, and I can get it the rest of the way with just a little bit of adjustment there. That particular feature is incredibly useful for what we do. So a lot of times we are mass manufacturing some parts, and we have to cut. As an example, we'll be cutting a bunch of flat bar, and we're cutting it in small pieces with a plasma cutter, but as those parts are coming off, they're getting very hot. And so having the ability to grab onto that steel with plier wrench because of the force that is generated between the handle and the jaw. And I'm not sure what the ratio is, but I'm going to guess it's somewhere between 10 or 15 to 1, and it may even be better than that. You get a lot of grip on these, so when you crimp down on something, you can move it all around, and that part is not going to move. It's hugely beneficial in that scenario. It's also hugely beneficial when you are grinding on small parts. So say, as an example, have a little keyway that needs to be polished down a little bit. Well, keyways can be pretty small, and sometimes being able to get a grinder on them just to run a quick polish along them is a little dangerous, because now you got your fingers in the way there. With these, you can actually grab hold of that part, run it along the grinder face, and you keep your hands out of harm's way, and you have a really, really solid purchase on whatever you're trying to grind. So it's fantastic for that task as well. So we talked a little bit about how this is almost like a replacement for vice grips in a way because of the clamping force that you're able to put on something. But it also replaces the standard adjustable wrench. Now, the adjustable wrench, this is a 6-inch Craftsman, and this was really my mainstay kind of EDC on the job site tool. When we were assembling a lot of different components, you always need a backup wrench. Well, the plier wrench has kind of taken over that role now because they're just so much more efficient at doing what the Crescent did. With the Crescent wrench, or with an adjustable wrench, you have a wide range of movement on it as well. But there's a couple key benefits that the plier wrench has over the adjustable wrench. The first of which is the jaw pattern, or the jaw width on here. On the Crescent, it's about, or the Craftsman, this isn't Crescent, this is Craftsman. On the Craftsman, it's about probably about 1/4, 5/16 of an inch, and it goes up to about 3/8 of an inch on the bottom. Where on the Knipex, it's a little over an 1/8 inch. It probably goes to right at a little less than 1/4 inch on the bottom. So the jaws are a lot smaller, and I'll show you in a minute why that's beneficial for other things. With the Crescent wrench, you can get onto different components, but every time that you have to switch rotation, you have to pull it off and reset it. And sometimes, if you've ever worked with Crescents long enough, if you really got to tighten on something, you'll know that sometimes that mechanism will jam, and then you pretty much have to hammer the Crescent off there to get it to reset, because it just will not release. Well, with the plier wrench, obviously you don't have that issue. You just release the jaws and they very quickly come off. Another benefit to the plier wrench is that because you have that range of movement, you can actually, and I've got this one set in the wrong place, there we go. Because of that range of movement, I can actually take this, tighten it, and then release it, rotate it, and grab again. It's almost like you having a ratchet in your hand as well. So another important capability of this particular style of wrench. Now, I was just talking about how the smaller jaws of the plier wrench can be incredibly useful. Here's one scenario where this comes into play. We got just a simple hose clamp here, and usually this would be something that you'd want to use like a nut driver or screwdriver on. But in the event that you don't have it, this particular plier wrench, because of that small jaw, you can see that it's up against the side of the clamp itself, but we still got gripped onto the head of that screw, of the machine screw. So now I have a really wide range of movement on here, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 180 to 200 degrees. Where if we try to do the same thing with the Crescent, first of all, it's a lot harder to get on here and to adjust, where with the plier wrench, you grip around it, you grab, and you go. And like before we were talking, once you grab hold of it, the pressure that you're able to put on it allows you to, you don't worry about slipping off. It's a huge thing with the plier wrenches. They just don't slip because the force that you're putting behind them, they really just grip on tightly to whatever you're doing. So the range on an adjustable wrench is really limited. It's coming down to probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 or 70 degrees is what we're getting. Now, we could probably get a little bit more by tilting it up, but it does not have the same range capability that you're going to get with the Knipex plier wrench. It's another hugely beneficial thing with the plier wrench. Now, the last kind of feature to the plier wrench is a little more difficult to show you here on the workbench. But the benefit of these, also another benefit, is that once you've gripped onto something, and we're just using a standard 3/8 inch bolt here, but once you've gripped onto something and you've got it locked in, you can actually, you do not have to have pressure on the bottom jaw or the top jaw, the bottom handle. You can actually, all the pressure is set with the top jaw. So if you had to, all you have to do is be able to push from the top side of whatever you're trying to screw on. And that has come in handy so many times, because sometimes, especially in automotive stuff, you can get into situations where you are really, really limited on space and you just do not have the room to get your hands in there. It's just an outstanding design in these plier wrenches for a variety of different things. I actually held off on buying this range or this type of tool from Knipex for a lot of years because they were just expensive, and I just didn't see where they were going to be beneficial enough to warrant the cost. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong, because the first one I picked up, from that point on, I immediately bought the rest of the range up to 12 inch because they are just so good at what they do. And the amount of money that they're able to save you over time, you know, those seconds and minutes and all, and just, they add up. They just do. These are absolutely worth their money. Now, they're a little pricey by most people's standards. They're going to run between about $40 and $45, usually around the 42 range for this, for the 125 model. But because of, you know, again, they're really popular among the EDC community because of their size and their capability. And trust me when I tell you these are capable, these are one of the best hand tools I have ever used in my life. And I have used a lot of tools, but I absolutely stand behind the Knipex brand. They are just phenomenal tools. This has been my review of the Knipex 8603 125. It's a tool that I definitely think you should have in your arsenal. For me personally, the 5 inch is just a little too small for me because I have larger hands. But this whole range of tools, they're just phenomenal. They really are. I really cannot speak highly enough about them. This has been the Knipex 8603 125. I appreciate you watching the Texas Tool Crib, and I will see you in the next one.